And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. In today's episode, we'll be discussing some of the Q&A that Nikita answered on the Russian Girls podcast on some information of the upcoming patch, followed by we're going to discuss the infamous one-tap event that BSG did that ended earlier this week. And then also infamously, we'll be discussing the server changes that have completely ruined Australia matchmaking and potentially every other country within a 1,000-mile radius to each other. So, how's it going, Giga?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. I mean, at least we've got some kind of updates, whatever. Do you know, it's really funny because people were like starting to speculate in my Discord about like when the wipe might be and stuff like this. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, can you imagine? It'd be so funny if patch 13 was on like the 13th. And I was like, dude, if that happens, it's like 11 days away. I was like, we're in
Yeah.
December. I'm actually kind of like December's kind of shocked me that we're here already.
I know.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for a wipe. I'm not sure if like from a game perspective, maybe, but from like a content creation perspective, I'm just like, oh god, dear god.
Dude, like December has a whole new meaning now. Is like I see the Christmas decorations coming down from the attic, and I'm just like, or the garage. I'm just like, oh god, wipes approaching.
That's what it means now. That's what it means now. So yeah, I guess yeah. So we'll start with the quicker stuff because the Nikita Q&A is going to take a while. So I think we'll start with the let's start with the event because that kind of was first because it's like started and then finished. Did you play in the event, or have you been playing? Because you've been playing a lot of like Modern Warfare. I've seen. Have you played? Did you play the event at all?
I did not.
Okay, it wasn't groundbreaking, so I'm not. You know, I wouldn't be. You didn't really miss out too much, but it was interesting. I mean, I played a couple of days. I think it was either 2 or 3 days while it was active when I was on my stream. So I played, like a decent number of hours of it. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on it in particular, just kind of as a bystander in this one. But for me, and there's a couple of us talking about this in chat as well, actually, it was quite interesting because it didn't really seem to make that much difference quite a lot of the time. Like it sounds like something that's going to be really crazy, right? So just to summarize for people who either like aren't playing or like weren't paying attention or whatever, there was an event and it was maybe like 4 days or 5 days or something. I can't remember exactly how long it was now. And what you got effectively was a series of buffs. So you got 20 endurance, 20 strength, you got stamina recovery. I think it was +2, which is basically just like an SJ6 all the time, and you got 2 HP regen. So most people just like running around, like even for people who are kind of low level in like, the 10s and 20s of strength and endurance, jumping up into like the mid 30s feels like a big deal. And some people were telling me about that too. The downside of this event was that you took double damage except for the head. So it's like taking, what is it? Which one gives you the damage extra? Is it the mule? I think it's the mule gives you like 9% more. So it's like taking 10 mules on top of each other, like 11 mules on top of each other. You got 100% extra damage taken. So basically double damage everywhere except the head. And weirdly, it was scaled. Well, I guess not weirdly, it's just the way the game mechanic works. It's scaled with your immunity. So you basically took 100% minus your immunity's extra damage. And if you had max immunity, it didn't affect you at all, was the word on the street. Now, I didn't manage to gather whether it literally didn't affect you whatsoever or whether, because there's an effect from immunity which gives, I think it's something like a 50% chance to not have status effects actually affect you, like a negative status effect. So I wasn't sure whether people were saying that it always never happened if you had max immunity, or if it was like following that regular rule. I wasn't 100% sure, but either which way, so few people have max immunity, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, I've got immunity of like 8 or something, so I was taking like 92% extra damage, and most people have immunity under 10, so most people are just getting one shot by stuff. But yeah, it's like the games that I played like a bit of leg meta because I was doing that anyway for some other stuff. And I had like an RD in one of the other ones. And like one of the sessions, I had a couple of PMC kills. I had like 2 headshots. And I was just like, there's some leg meta ones which were like clear. I was using rip ammo, so it was just like clear kills. It's like, four shots turns into 2 shots with the Vector. And in a lot of these situations, I was just like, I don't think it really made that much difference, honestly, in like time to kill. Most of the time you hit somebody in the thorax, it's 3 shots anyway. If you're getting a headshot, it literally doesn't make any difference. Like, there's actually a much smaller subset of scenarios in which it matters. I mean, I think the biggest the biggest impact, honestly, was probably A, the fact that AI scavs didn't have these effects, and B, that they were so much more deadly. You know, because they're the ones that normally have the shotguns and da da da. And if they've got like a super performance slug or something, then they'll put you on, 220 damage. There'll be a little bit of drop off as it travels over the distance. Maybe when it hits you, it's got 200 or something, but it takes like 400 off you in literally one go, which is pretty bonkers. And in the arm, you'll still have like 300 HP removed because of the 70% thing. So scavs were really scary. You had to like play weirdly careful against them, but it was kind of it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. Like it sort of twisted the balance a little bit because obviously if you get shot and it doesn't pen, you just get the blunt damage, which is doubling, but the blunt damage is kind of low anyway. So it meant that like high tier armor was kind of like even more powerful, if that makes sense. And it like boosted leg meta too. Like it was kind of weird, but the effects were relatively muted, I would say, compared to what you would imagine when you first see it. Like the first gut instinct the gut instinct response when you first see this thing of double damage, you think, oh, this is going to change everything. But it's like, no, it probably doesn't. It probably doesn't. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Did you see anything about it, or people talking about it, or did you have any thoughts about it yourself before I ramble on?
When I first saw it, I was just like immediate no, like ew, this is gross. But I was watching Pestilli play a little bit, and I saw he was using the break action, and he was talking to chat, and he was like, a lot of people will say it's a bad event. I don't think it's a bad event. I think it's just like, either it's like a fine event, either you like it, you don't. And I thought about some more, and I was like, it's actually not like a bad event. Because as you said, you get the buffs, and you also get the debuffs. So like if you're like, because this is the weird thing, if you're like max level Giga Chad, you're not really getting any buffs. Like I guess the weight reduction's kind of nice, but you already kind of have that.
Oh yeah, because it was like 50% extra weight or something as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I mean, like it's like, I guess it still helps.
And it takes your stats. Like if you're at 51 endurance and strength, then you go to 60.
Right.
As well, so a little bit there.
I mean, the flat bonuses don't really help you, I would imagine, but anyways, so it's like kind of nice if you're not like, Giga Chad, and it's cool. I mean, it's an event, I mean, it's just it is not going to be for everyone. The only other thing I would say is like, I think M61 and SMB were like or whatever the other ammo is, just absolutely busted us. I did watch one video, Landmark use M61, and he just like one tap 4 guys on customs, and he's like, this is so broken, it's just like,
yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Per AP.
Yeah, that's what I thought immediately. I was like, oh yeah, I would just use M61 here because it's just gonna like one tap anything. He got a one tap on his stomach, dude, which I don't know if that was like, that can't be right. Yeah, I was like, that can't be right.
That seems unlikely. But what was it? Is it 70 damage M61? I think it is. And then if you take, so say it
1.5.
I'm going to assume that it's fragmenting is 1.5 times, right? I know fragmentation is crazy right now, so maybe it's something different. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that would take it to 105. But then the double damage would then take it to 210. Oh, I don't think there's enough.
But then the spread damage, does that get multiplied? So like, okay, so it's like 210.
I guess so, but I just don't think there's enough there, because even if you just assume this was like 1 HP, right? That's still like 1.5 times again, which is only 315. So I'm not sure if it makes sense. I don't know. Maybe the guy was like,
maybe he shot him twice in the stomach. Maybe it wasn't a one tap.
Maybe, or like the guy could have been like low on thorax for some other reason, and just got like splash damaged, because that can happen, right? You can get overfilled into the thorax.
I say he one tapped the guy in the stomach. He got on his kill feed. He had 3 thorax kills, like 1 stomach kill. Like, oh my God.
So it could have been something else. That's interesting.
And it might have been the guy he full autoed, because I really wasn't paying that much attention at the operations, but
Yeah, but no, it's true. Like lots of people using SMB. Festi was using the break action. I think it's kind of an interesting one where the big rounds will like one tap to thorax. It's like the way it used to be, with the Mosin or whatever. It's kind of
Yeah,
like going
but
back to those days.
it goes straight through every armor class.
Yeah, but that was the same with the Mosin with like SMB or whatever, right? It's like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
kind
you
of,
couldn't one tap, could you?
You could, yeah, because the. Oh, not with SMB. Oh, yeah, you're right because the damage wasn't high enough, right? It was only
Yeah.
with like LPS or whatever.
You could ruin their
Or
day.
an M1.
Like,
Yeah.
oh god, another Mosin rat with my SMV round. Just
Yeah.
destroyed my armor and I have 1 HP. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's kind of I didn't mind it. Some people came in like complaining about it and stuff, and I was just like, no, this is a fine event. Like the water hydration like drought event was like way worse than this. Like there's been other events that have really sucked. I feel like it just looked bad at face value, and
I think
people have got like gut instinct to just go like, oh, this is terrible, blah blah blah. Like,
so.
did you actually play it for a few hours or whatever? Because yeah, like Sad saying in chat, it did help the lower levels. It had like a disproportionate impact on the lower levels because it gave them the extra skills and the points and blah blah. But the one thing that I've found like kind of interesting is that both this event and the previous event. So the last one, we talked about the condensed milk, and there was like all the various buffs on all the confectionery type items, and you got that +3 stamina recovery or something, I think, from condensed milk, and you could use that with like Meldona, and you could just like run forever. And that event was really fun for that. And this one again, it had like 2 points of stamina recovery, so you could ADS for a long time because it works on your arm stamina too. So you can ADS forever, you can run forever, and having both of the last events having like a stamina buff, oh, it just feels so great. Like the game feels so good when you could just run forever and you're not like constantly trying to catch your breath. Like I understand that that's the way Tarkov is supposed to be, but like
Right.
in the end at the end of the wipe, having these events that are plus stamina, it just feels great, right? To give you more maneuverability and like you've done all the hardcore stuff. Yeah, you've got 30 mil in the bank.
Right.
You've completed most of the quests. Like you've struggled through, you've done the thing, and now it's like, right, here you go, have a load of stamina recovery. Which I thought was pretty cool. But the other thing that was interesting, and I actually even put it out on Twitter, right? Because you got 2 HP regen per second, and that was what got me thinking in the first place. Because I was like, like when you fall off something, and it's like boop boop, they just fill back up again, or you brush against some barbed wire and it just like fills back up, or you get shot with a shotgun and you CMS the limb, but all the other limbs have healed in the meanwhile.
Yeah.
So you're not having to just either use a propital or just on like every single limb, which has got me thinking in the first place about, and we had a discussion about this on stream too, about what would be in like an appropriate level of HP regen that wouldn't allow you to just like sit there and recover, but it would sort of just smooth over that irritation of having those limbs. That it's not really realistic to have to heal 1 HP in each limb, right? So even people who like, oh, I like it being hardcore, I like it being realistic. It's just like, yeah, but you can deal with that. But it's just like 1 HP on each limb, just it's kind of stupid. It doesn't really make any sense, like if you get shot really, really hard in the leg and now you have 1 damage on your left arm, like that's not realistic either. So it's just silly. And that's why I was like, oh, maybe because I know you commented on my thread, but I was like, you could even go down as low as like 0.1 and make it so that you have to have like over 50% hydration and energy, and the limb maybe has to have over 50% HP or something. Like give it a load of restrictions, but it's just to kind of like smooth over and like getting like 6 HP a minute would be enough that you could just like leave 1 damage on a few limbs or whatever, and you just like let it smooth itself over.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you would want some type of costs associated with it. Like it just can't be a permanent. I mean, it's not really. I don't know. It's not really a big deal. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal, but I was just like, I thought it was interesting because it felt really nice to play with.
Yeah, no,
and
I
this
get
is the
you.
thing, right? Because we never really get to experience that, and that's again, it's with the stamina thing. It's like we don't often get to experience those, and only in these events do we get to actually experience changes like that. Like I do wish that they would just go like, oh, it's not an event, but we're just going to add it for a week and just see how people feel about it, and then take it away and say, do people miss it? Like, is it good? Is it adding anything to the game? Not having it? Just like do little changes like that. It'd be cool, but it's not the way BSG operates, unfortunately. But yeah, it just got me thinking about it. I was like, oh, this could be kind of fun. But
yeah, maybe
anyway,
if you're
I
like,
enjoyed the event.
Maybe if you're standing still and you're at max, or actually can't be at max.
But like over 75% or something, like energy hydration.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there were more buffs. I wish you got like more stamina recovery for being
Right.
above energy and hydration. Say you would like maybe make it above 75%. You get like there's some small buffs. You get like half a point of stamina. You get like a little bit of regen. Stuff like that. Because right
Right.
now it's just 100 to 0.1 on hydration and energy, and you're just
Dude.
like all's good. And as soon as you hit 0, it's just like pain on the screen, like can't move. Your stamina bar won't fill up anymore. Like it's correct. Like it's so binary. I wish that there was a bit more like graduation.
Yeah. Everything they got's very or not everything, but a lot of things are like very like, okay, you hit the threshold, boom, penalties. It's like, let me just add one little 0.0001 kilo on top of my backpack, boom, overweight.
Exactly.
It'd be great as a perk system, like the old classic. Like you just take these small little perks, and there's one that's like when you're above 70% energy and hydration, you get 0.1 HP. Some like well-fed buff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like something like
pick
that.
one of 3. You pick you get the stamina one, you get the HP regen one, like whatever. So for something like really minuscule, it's like you wouldn't be able to. This is the point, right? You want to pick something and have the choices such that you feel it when you play, but your opponent can't really tell which one you've got.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that obvious.
Like, he won that fight because he had the 0.0001 HP regeneration. My skill ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, skill issue. Exactly. Yeah.
Hold on, give me like 2 seconds.
Okay. But yes, Wild Church's way, it was good. It was good. We got slow health regen with 90, 100 food, water. Yeah, I think it's a sensible system. But yeah. So it was fun. Honestly, it was a fun event. So yeah, I spent part of it with the RD, and I said like I just got like a bunch of headshots with the RD, which is kind of funny. I was like, well, that was not really what the event was about. But I actually had good fun with the 45 vector because the rip round is 2-shot in the event, which is pretty sick. It's 137 damage times 2 for like 200 and what is it? 274, and then times 2, it's like, yeah, you're dead.
So one other question I had was, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but the AI, did they have this buff or debuff rather?
No.
Okay.
So the AI took regular damage, which is why they were extra scary. So they were dealing double damage to you, but had the usual health pool, which is really annoying.
That's really annoying. They should. I wish they would have changed that because that's really annoying.
It made them really rough because you were picking.
I'm already annoyed at the AI now. It's even more annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing, right? You were like changing your loadouts and your kits a bit based on this like new meta. You know what I mean? And then it's just like the scavs walking around with like the medium health pool of like 500 or something, and you're like, God, really? And you're shooting at them, and they're just not dying. Whereas like PMCs just like fall over as soon as you blow in their general direction.
Yeah, you would. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like yeah. That's one thing I would probably like riff about, even though I didn't play. But otherwise, I think it seemed pretty fun. Like I said, I was watching Pista, and he was having a good time, and it's something. So
yeah, it was pretty good. I quite like these things because you sort of think like, oh, what's the impact on armor? What's the impact on what bullets? What guns are meta now? What bullets are meta now? Does it bring some stuff up and some stuff like gets worse? Leg meta becomes really strong. Level 6 class 6 armor, like the TTSK rig is like super value because it pretty much all auto blocks like the first round, which means you're not going to die straight away, which is pretty cool. So no, it was good. I thought it was good. Like it wasn't like the best event ever, right? It wasn't like the holy grail of events like we talked about the end of wipe event from last time, which is with the toxins and you have the bosses and the extracts, but the extract's too long, so you'll die if you don't do the thing. Like that was perfect. This was like it was good. It was just a decent sort of late wipe event. I think it was fine. And people complaining, just don't play for a couple of days. Like it really didn't make that much difference, honestly. So yeah. So the other thing, we got this patch, right? It's a very controversial and interesting update to servers on the patch. So I mean, some people, if they haven't played for a while, they may also not be aware of the old system. So in the launcher, the way that it used to work is, and I've got my launcher here actually, if you clicked, so above the play button, there's like report bug, check for updates, and change server. You used to be able to click on change server, and in there was a list. It seems to have crashed my it's crashed my launcher actually. But anyway, there used to be a list of all the servers in the world. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go, it's come back now. So there were a list of all the servers in the world, and it was like, London, Paris, Madrid, Rome, whatever, like all
Speaking
the
all
different
the
servers.
EU.
Yeah, all the EU ones, right? So those are the ones that I usually pick, like
Yeah.
Portugal, like da da da. I think, was it by country? I can't remember if it was by city or by, was it by city or by? It was by city, I think.
City, yeah.
Yeah. So I used to, and what a lot of people used to do is, rather than picking automatic server selection, which for whatever reason never felt like it worked that well, people used to just sort by ping and just go click 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 down to either 50 ping or something, or whatever it is for you.
Well, I think the biggest complaint with auto is like at the start of a wipe, you would get like 20-minute queue times.
Yeah.
And that's yeah. And then the other thing people infinitely use it for, sorry to cut you off, but they to like specifically here, probably true in Europe as well, but specifically here in the US, a lot of people would avoid the West Coast servers because I don't know, it's like scared of quote unquote Chinese hackers. I mean, trust me, I still run into hackers occasionally, but a lot of us would play on East Coast servers, so because the ping restriction. But
yeah, exactly. So now they've changed it, and they've now bundled together all of the different servers within a particular region.
Mm-hmm.
So now, instead of the ones that I used to see with the low ping, now it has Europe North, Europe Central, Europe West, Europe South, Europe East, which is definitely interesting. So you can't pick a specific server. You can now only pick a server region. And they're, in Europe and in the States, they're granular enough that you could like flick around between different groupings of servers, or you can pick ones that are close to you and further away. Like you're not going to be thrown on a West Coast server or something, and I'm not going to be thrown into like Eastern Europe. One thing that's really weird that I haven't actually figured out yet is why Europe Central, or is it, no, sorry, which is it? Yeah, Europe North consistently has a lower ping for me than Europe West. It's very odd. I don't really know. Maybe it's like,
are you on the border?
I mean, what do you count the UK as? I mean, there's not that much further across, right? It's just like France under us and then Spain. Like we're pretty much as west as you can get. So like maybe it's like Norway or something that's like got good ping. Maybe it's Denmark or something. I'm not really sure. But like maybe London ended up in Europe North for some reason. Actually, it could well have done. Actually, that probably makes sense. That probably is what they've done. They probably put London in Europe North. Yeah, that's probably what's happened. Anyway, so we've got like 5 to choose from. But the point being is that BSG think that this is going to help with matching times. It does seem to have. It helps them smooth out. I know some people were just like, oh no, this is a terrible sign because it means that the game's dying because BSG have had to do something about the low player numbers. It's just like, no, but maybe, but like it helps BSG to put the people that are playing together. So if you have a low population period of the game, i.e. now, i.e. at the end of the wipe, it can consolidate people together into the same servers. Like previously there was a culture, and I don't know how pervasive this was across the broader Tarkov community, but there was a culture of, oh, I'm going to pick one specific server because of hackers, like I need to change my server because of hackers. And if lots of random people are picking like individual bespoke random servers, that makes the matching algorithm a lot more annoying, right? A lot more complicated, and could actually lead to greater matching times. Like I had specific servers picked based on ping, but I had quite a few of them picked, so it probably was basically the same as Europe Auto. But now you don't have that choice, so now people are getting thrown into more games together, and it seems like there are less empty lobbies. Like I know the guys on Labs are saying that like their lobbies are just completely filled, and I think I probably would anecdotally say that I've seen a bit more action. Hard to say. To be honest, it's hard to say, but like maybe I've seen a bit more action than I have done beforehand.
Well, how many servers did you have select before?
Probably about 10, maybe 8 to 10.
That's a lot because we, like me specifically, I know I only had like 3.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I had more than that. I had like most of them. I had most of the European servers selected within, definitely Western Europe. I think where did I kind of finish? It's like on the borderline. Once you get into kind of Eastern Europe, I kind of stopped. I think like the furthest I went across was sort of towards like Austria. I don't think I had like Poland. So yeah, it was like all of the Western servers pretty much, like all the Nordics, all of like
Right.
the main Europe and all of the bit near me. But yeah, people are saying it seems good. But the big controversy about the whole of this thing was the way that they'd done Australia and Asia in the first place, because there's not that many servers out that way. But they combined. Did they have Australia, China, and Asia all as one, or was it China and then like OCE, or like China and Asia just all together? I can't quite remember
They had
which way
like
around it was.
Australia. They basically just took like that part of the world that's like separated by like oceans of water and just like drew a big circle and was like, "Yep, this is an entire region." So Austria would connect all the way to like, I don't know, Japan, I guess, where I don't know. It was like a really big region. I saw a video from Tayoff, where he like showed what the regions were more or less, kind of split it by a map, and yeah, it was just like, but they basically did it for Oceania or whatever. It's like I think Australia is its own region now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and then
exactly.
It's like China and Japan. Like, what is that called? C maybe? I'm not sure. Nah, that can't be C.
Asia, I guess, because it's China now. Now there's China, Asia, and Australia as 3 separate regions, which is a bit better, I think. So I think the Australia guys, because they were getting bundled in with a lot of the rest of Asia, but it was really far away, so they were getting thrown onto like servers with the high ping. And I also believe, well, based on what we saw from them, that the original matching algorithm was just trying to like match people onto servers, and if you're in that region, you're just going on whatever server.
Yeah, rather than going like prioritizing.
Oh, these people, rather than being like, oh, these people have 200 ping, this is a problem. Like, I don't think it was prioritized. Right.
For that. It's like, oh, here's a player in the same region. Yeah. Let's match them together.
Exactly. Whereas like clearly it should be saying, okay, this person's in Australia, right? They shouldn't be sent all the way across to the other side, so they're like 150 ping. So hopefully they added little thing in there, or maybe they just changed the region such that now that's not an issue. I'm not sure, but it seems that the crying has stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if you're listening, you should watch the Takeoff video, because I thought he had some interesting takes on it. I personally was for the change because as you said, the thing that makes me mauled about Tarkov in general, outside of dying scavs and every other thing under the sun, is the queue times, man, dude. They kill me, dude. Especially when you get the matching bug. It's just like, God, why have I wasted 10 minutes of my life? I'm just sitting here staring at a screen, and then you spend all that time, if it's late wipe, you kind of just want a PvP. And, maybe there's a few quests, but it's nice to have that PvP mixed into it. It's like this. I've worked to get the most powerful I can. Finally, I can shoot more scavs. Loot more loot. Watch the numbers go up. So that was just a big complaint. Is it just sometimes it was really hard to find players, man. And I don't know. I didn't really like that you could select your servers as well. I don't know. In one hand, it's nice. Because there was one time where we were getting it was probably just a bad server that day, or maybe along the chain of nodes that there was just a bad node to that server, and so it was just a bad server experience. But I think it was Texas or St. Louis, one of those. I can't remember, but I've just had consistently bad experiences on that server. So I've unchecked those, because we used to select a bunch of central servers as well for a bunch of my friends, because they were central/western. But anyways, I don't know. So I'm kind of for it, prioritizing this way. What I'm not for is like, you know, oh, it like picks a like here in the States, let's say we're doing like, I don't know, um we're doing like northeast servers like New York. It's like picks like the server New York and matches any players within that northeast region. So it's like it picks the furthest away server, the most distant server, and like everyone from like the border, because that's like the chance that the people are like on and matching. It's like, oh yeah, just go to this server instead of like they're all clustered here in like the bottom region, but the server's up north. It's like, why did it do that? Why not move the server, use a server down here like Virginia or whatever? And just like that I imagine that's probably some of the issues they had to work with. Hopefully it gets resolved, because like wipe day comes, dude, I do not want to deal with long matching times or crappy ping. Like if I have 120 ping, I'm already like, my skill cell. I wish I would much rather be on Virginia right now manually. So we'll see how it pans out, but I think specifically for late wipe, this is a good change. You also got the argument of people using dead servers to like do tasks and stuff, and I'm also like kind of for that, getting rid of that, because I just think that's like really cheesy. I mean,
people playing like borderline offline mode.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna use my VPN and connect to Dubai with 350 ping, but really the game. Yeah. It's just like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's interesting. So yeah, the international groups was the other one that people were talking about. Again, it's like about this prioritization thing. If you have someone in the UK and someone say yourself, and we're trying to play together, if we pick a US server, would it just pick like any old US server, right? It's like, one that's like really far west, and then it screws me over because it's not prioritizing for ping, but we've picked, a US sort of centric region. That was like the other thing. It's like, if you got like international people and you pick a region, you really want to pick like something in the middle, and you need to make sure that the game tries to do that rather than just goes, oh, this server's nice and getting nice and full, let's put you all the way over here, and then you keep just having to disconnect constantly.
Dude, some server company needs to like invest in an oil rig and then convert it to like a server in the middle of the ocean,
in the middle of the Atlantic, so that like both sides get like 60 ping or something.
Dude, wouldn't that be a crazy? Like, I bet the I can't even, like, it's probably as like, this is crack pipe theory right now we're getting into, but if it could be done, okay, I bet the rates on that would be like astronomical. And like
transatlantic gaming hub.
But dude, that would be great, man. Imagine like, me on the East Coast connected to it. I probably would get like 50 to 60 ping, and then you would also get 60 ping, 50, maybe 40, 70, I don't know. Just that'd be great, man. That'd be so cool. Australia, they could have one for like Australia to the US too. Like they just like, that'd be really cool. But anyways, we shall see how it pans out.
The second iteration of the patch, which they did literally the following day, seems to have ironed out some of the initial quirks. So
I have heard New Zealand is still screwed, because I
think they were grumbling, but they can still pick Oz.
Yeah, but isn't that still? I don't know.
I don't think it's that bad. I'm not sure. Did New Zealand have its own server? Maybe that's why they were complaining.
I think they did.
Did they have their own one? So now they're like, it's like 50-50 as to whether we... Well, or maybe not even that, because there's so many more people in New Zealand, in Australia.
Right.
It's like, it's in that part of the world where you're just like, damn, it's actually really far away. Yeah, you look at the map and you're like, oh, they're really close to each other. And you're like, oh, the Tasman Sea is actually gigantic.
Yeah.
Like I have to scroll out to the point at which I can see the curvature of the Earth on Google Maps to fit them both in on the same screen. So it's like, all right, maybe it is quite far away. Okay, I think it's playable though. I think it's playable. I don't think it's terrible, but I think they were just complaining a little bit about that.
The other weird thing they did, let's say I'll say on this topic, I think, is so like in the US we have our categories is split up by north and south. So there's like northeast, southeast, northwest, or sorry, north central, south central. But for west, they just did it as one whole category, which I don't know why. Maybe they thought California was just like so big that it just like should like that would be the majority of people. I don't know. It's just like the whole West Coast is like Washington State, California, and I don't know, some other shit. I'm not. The geography is like really bad for me. But then you also got like Canada, right? Because Canada's like included in this is not really US, it's North America.
Does Canada not have its own region?
No, it's all part of the North.
Oh, it's North America. Oh, I see.
So like if you're playing like Southeast, it's like 0 Canadians, all purebred Americans. I'm sorry. Just kidding. But it's weird because like West, like that's one of the things Taof was saying is like West is kind of screwed because you could get a server and like because he's in Canada, so like he can't really guarantee he's gonna get a server close to him that's like 20 ping. Like he's gonna get like 100 ping potentially. I don't know. It's just that was kind of weird. I was like, why did they not like they did that for every other region, or I don't know what's the word, but anyways. So yeah, if you're West Coast, curious to know what your experience has been.
Indeed.
The other question I have is I didn't change my server selections on the update and I haven't played, so like what's it gonna give me? Like
yeah, I didn't either, but it chooses a region for you based on what you had selected before.
I know, which I'm worried because I had like probably New York, probably Virginia /
well, it says it automatically gives it to you. Mine just did tick automatic server selection EU.
Yeah,
there's like the lazy approach. Like I don't have any regions ticked.
Kind of worried.
Mine was just on auto, but I've been playing on auto for the last week, and it's been completely fine.
Oh, okay. You can choose auto as well.
Yeah, there's just auto. Oh. I have auto EUR, and I guess you'll have like auto NA or whatever.
All right. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, it's not terrible.
Yeah, when you play, you'll have to see. You have to see whether it's whether it works or not. Because that's the thing. Like I usually default to, if it's fine, leave it alone. If there's a problem, then I'll start messing with it. You know what I mean? I'm very much that kind of person. So I'm like, okay, they've changed the server stuff, so like I'll just leave it on whatever it defaults it to, and then if it sucks, then I'll fiddle with it afterwards. So yeah, but no, I think it's okay.
So you can fiddle with stuff?
Just to like pick whichever regions. Like whether I would just pick Europe North, Europe Central, Europe West, Europe South, Europe East, or I'm just going to pick Europe North. Yeah, you can choose those. So you can still choose these. Right? So people saying like, oh, you're locked into a server or whatever. I can pick US East if I want, US Northeast.
Okay, so you can pick a region. Okay,
you can pick your region still, just like you could before. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So like, that's really interesting. So you still could kind of pick a dead region, but you'd have to
maybe pick a dead region at the wrong time of day. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
You can pick like Middle East in the middle of the night for them.
Yeah. Assuming you could be under the ping threshold, which I think.
But I guess the point is though that any players on those servers will get bundled into one server, you see.
Right.
Whereas before you could pick like some random server out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So like all the people trying to abuse the system will get queued into other players.
Yes, everyone's just like ratting around, skulking in the shadows.
That's fine. Okay, on to the Q&A, shall we?
Yes, we should do. Otherwise, this is gonna be a very, very long ScavTalk, and I'm not allowed to do that anymore. So, Nikita did, and this is the Girls of Tarkov podcast, which Nikita does relatively often, I would say. As much as the other ones, which is a bunch of the kind of Russian female streamers, Sheena 4 and a few of the others. And sometimes ask some pretty interesting questions. This one is like really long, so I'm gonna try not to go too much into detail because like I mean a bunch of other people have covered this stuff, but I think there's some like interesting things to discuss. So anyway, let's just dive into it. So the first question was which part of streets will be featured in the first iteration? Is it downtown or the suburbs? I mean, I think we probably like given the screenshots we've seen, I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be like the center of the city, and that's basically what he said. He says like the city itself is quite large and we designed it in such a way we could gradually expand it. The first iteration will be part of the location that's closer to the center without the suburbs. Initially, the suburbs were planned as a separate location, but we decided to move it into DLC. Now, I do wonder at this point whether DLC is a euphemism for we've scrapped it and we're not going to do it. But we're not having these suburbs in this bit. So like we've seen, it's like big wide streets, right? So although it may not be like the center, because I imagine the center of streets is demarked by the actual high rises. I guess, and we probably won't get that in the first iteration, I imagine, from what we've seen so far. But it's pretty built up central section of streets that we're going to see to begin with. And he says here, at the moment, the key task is to make the main city. Some buildings are closed, some parts of the streets are blocked off. It's an ambitious task. What else was it interesting? Oh yes, we pay special attention to optimizing the location so that players have the same or better FPS than on Lighthouse. So they're having to do lots of optimization because of large numbers of objects or the textures. If it comes out worse than Lighthouse, it's going to be very, very sad.
Wasn't there a line in there? It's like we want to get it to the quality of Lighthouse. I was like, Yeah,
it says same or better as Lighthouse.
Okay.
I guess like in theory on streets there's more optimization you can do than on Lighthouse because like Lighthouse you can stand on the top of the thing and see everything, whereas on streets it's like you're in a building and they can cull stuff and blah blah blah. It says like due to the large number of objects and textures, we had to implement new optimization modules. Now it's already possible to run around the location, but there's a question of number of players. One of the main conditions for launching the city is the ability to keep a large number of NPCs and players on the location. And this is where there was a bit of confusion because originally the translated version came out before the actual transcript, which I guess is like vetted and they've like tidied it up. And so they've confirmed now for anyone who was sort of paying attention earlier in the week. They said all this requires implementation of a new system that will allow us to place up to 100 entities, which is players and NPCs on the location at a time. So if you have 20 to 40 PMCs or whatever, you can then have like 50 to 70 scavs, I guess, as well, at various points on the location. So in the first situation, we won't have this yet. We'll get to those later. So that's it, right? That's the streets update. It's coming along as we thought, but I mean, it's hard to optimize. Oh god, I can't imagine like 100 entities on a map. It's gonna be insane. Like the rogues already have such a terrible performance hit on Lighthouse, and we've talked about this before, but I do think that is the problem because if you spawn in offline, I know it's different because some of the stuff's done on your PC, but you spawn in offline on Lighthouse and it's fine. You spawn in with the rogues and it's terrible. It's definitely got something to do with it. And the next part was, will there be bosses in the first iteration? They said no. We won't have bosses and some mechanics. And he says in the trailer we've shown a BTR taxi. The BTR requires a city with all the streets. So that's, to me, sounds like that's not coming either. So it's just going to be like the map, basically. It's just going to be the map. A little bit later on, they talk about whether labs, because we speculated about this last time, whether the labs entrances were going to get combined together. It seems like that's also not going to be the case. That's sort of relevant to now as to what we were looking at. So I think the map's going to be relatively like bare bones in terms of all the crazy features that they've said. And there's even talk about like random exits and like crazy exits and like flare guns and all that kind of stuff. But for now, they're all going to be normal exits. So they're just trying to like get the map out there. And I think I probably agree with that approach.
Yes,
rather than trying to start doing like crazy stuff, just get the map out the first iteration, please, and let us play it. Yeah, exactly. Can raiders provide the BTR? Maybe. All right, and then in one of the videos, you saw the ability to break walls. They're saying there's special places where walls are already damaged, you'll be able to go through by destroying them. Maybe they'll have health, but we'll have to see, kind of thing. Maybe we'll be able to crawl through the ventilation system in streets. It's quite funny because Nikita was basically like, I know the overall structure of streets, but I don't actually know like all the details because he built customs with the guys, I guess, like from the first, when they first were doing it, because there's hardly any of them. But he's like, I don't really know all the details about Streets, so like I can't really tell you, which is pretty funny. Yeah, and this is where they were saying, are they going to have the new exit mechanics? They said like not yet. And maybe some more destructible stuff. They said they might even disable the physics for the first iteration of Streets. For this is like destructible terrain and destructible environments and boxes and all this kind of stuff. I imagine that will be very buggy because we don't really have that right now. Yeah, we saw lots of things in the trailers of books falling off shelves and all of that kind of thing. I imagine that will be a serious testing point when it comes through if they do actually add that in. I mean, surely if you want people to be able to play the map, then like having destructible terrain is not the way to go in the first iteration.
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay. Maybe there's a way of doing it in a cheap way from a process perspective. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, so the next one was kind of cool. They said like the new ways to open doors in Streets, and they said they've been planning the mechanic for a long time to have the finished. They've got a finished model of like the code panel, and they want to integrate the game into the future. So again, not yet, but they've got more plans for all this stuff. It's going to be just like taking a slight detour for a second. It's going to be very interesting seeing what the roadmap looks like or what they talk about once Streets Part 1 is actually out.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of like, we're gate kept behind, as we said last week, so many things like Lighthouse Trader, Arena, and Streets Part 1, because none of these things are there and we're just kind of waiting for them.
Yep.
I feel like that's like a brick wall that we can't see through.
Yeah.
Because once we get that, then we can think like, oh, okay, well, which of these features are now coming? Are we getting code locks? Are we getting the boss next? Are we getting Lightkeeper? Are we getting, whatever else it is, the BTR? So it'll be interesting to get through the Streets Part 1 hurdle.
Yeah.
Actually, if we're going to get any of this stuff and which order. So what else?
Changing subjects a little bit. Will it be possible to create weapon presets and share them directly in the game without needing to make a screenshot and publish on Discord? He says, actually, this was in the plans. Saving presets and ability to share them. We even planned an upvote system for presets. After all, we have so many builds and such little things are very important. So that's cool because that would be really nice to just like have it built into the game.
Really sick. Yeah, I was like almost thinking of kind of like, in Dota 2 where you've got like the guides, you're like Tortellini guide of like every single hero or whatever.
Oh, I guess kind of cool. GigaBeef guide.
Exactly, right? It's just like,
Gunsmith 1,
360.
316.
The creators are trying to be like actually that would ruin Gunsmith completely.
Yeah, then they'll like be like, no, we're gonna remove this feature.
Yeah, but yeah, you have all the creators like vying for like votes in the system to have the
upvote, guys. Church 1x1 army, upvote this build now. Yeah,
exactly. That'd be funny. But yeah, it'd be cool to be able to share gun builds like that, save presets and share them between players. I imagine there probably won't be. Well, I say there's an upvote system. We even planned an upvote system for presets. Probably means it's not coming. But if you could just share a build with somebody in the chat, that'd be cool. Anyway, to like send something to a friend or hey, build this gun. I'm not sure if I'd really use that. I mean, I don't play with anybody. I'm forever alone, but I'm sure groups would use it.
Yeah. It's a really nice quality feature thing. I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah. What else was interesting in this? There's like a bunch of stuff about shooting on your back and dust off the ground animation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they change some of the wording on this?
From the original never mind. Translation version, yeah.
I missed the line. I see it now.
Okay. Oh, okay. There's like so like some random mechanics, which I'm honestly not really that bothered about. Like it's fine, and maybe it'd be cool to have these kind of things, but like just we need other stuff done, other stuff done.
But here's another interesting one. Plans to allow players to use repair kits in raid, fix weapons or armor. He says, no, this is not planned. A full-fledged repair is not an infield thing. Replacing armor plates in the field is possible, but not full-fledged repairs. I think he says the same for weapons. It's like you just can't, fully
that's
repair
kind of
a
interesting,
weapon.
because we did speculate about this before. I think that it's interesting to know that he has no plans to do that, because we thought that might be a possibility when they were getting added. And like, maybe you can change a plate, but you can't actually repair real armor. Okay, that's fair enough. The interesting part to me was the bit that he said about weapons in particular, where he says, If in the future we'll add a custom durability indicator to each element of the weapon where each part has its own durability, maybe that would be possible. For example, if you found a weapon bolt in Raid, you can change it on the spot, there'll be less problems. You won't just be able to clean a gun with a rag and magically make everything fine. Oh, I so wanted them to put like a durability in for every part. I so did.
Yeah.
I so did. And it's cool that he's talking about it. Like, I don't really like the current durability system.
No.
It's okay. But
yeah,
it just pertains to jams and nothing else, which
well,
yeah.
Is that true? I thought also
And accuracy, but it's
yeah,
mainly actually the accuracy thing is a big thing. So it's just jams and accuracy.
But what about like misfires?
Like,
isn't that also part of the?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean by jams. I just mean like the malfunctions in general.
Okay, gotcha.
The whole malfunction system. But as we talked about before, you just avoid it by having a max durability weapon the whole time. But the whole thing's stupid because you just replace the lower and then like, oh, magically the barrel's all good again. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, the suppressor's just like infinite.
Right.
You know, they have no durability. Like the whole thing doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they increase the wear by having the suppressor on, but you can just change the lower out and it fixes it. Like I hate it.
Yeah, the looting is like really weird because it's like the parts are more valuable. Like I could loot someone's 0 durability M4 or 1 durability M4, and if it has like all meta attachments on it, that thing is like just as good as 100% durability M4. You know, so yeah, because that would be cool too. Is like you could loot. Let's say you find a barrel that's at like 100%. You know, it's like really good quality. And then that means you can sell in the market for, you know, it could fetch a much higher price because it's like brand spanking new. Whereas like one that's at like 60% durability, you know, it's like not super accurate, or, you know, it has an accuracy debuff, you know, it overheats faster, whatever. You know, it's like a common, because you get like different rarities. Like, I mean, it just kind of makes sense. It's like, it's an extra layer of depth, which, you know, could be good and bad, but I don't know. I think it seems like something they should do for this type of game. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think it'd be good for the looting and prioritizing about what. You know, there's some things that you'd be like, well, I want to keep this part because it's useful. You know, these wear out more quickly, and I want to keep it. You know, it's just like I think it would be better, and it makes things less like.
And then you can enchant it
1-to-1. Yeah, then you can enchant it. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's less like a 20-inch barrel is a 20-inch barrel. It's like, oh, this one's 80 durability, and this one's got 95 on it to start with, and you find random parts of different things. Like having a gun with 100% on everything.
It's like, yeah, because even like the crap ones could still be useful. It's like, oh well, you know, I could, if I take this 20% barrel, I can complete the SR25 in my stash. You know, and have like a full, like, yeah, it's got a crap barrel, but it's like I can actually use the full gun with this barrel. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like, I don't know. In an ideal world, it wouldn't be like the low durability ones are completely useless. Again, in an ideal world, but
yeah, I don't know. There's ways of doing it that are cooler, I think.
Yeah.
Than the system we have right now, which is just a bit. It's sort of just a halfway, you know.
Yeah.
It's like an excuse to put the malfunction system in.
That's
do it.
Exactly how I feel. Yeah. Like, we really want these cool animations in, but we need a system in place to make them.
So we'll just attach it all to the lower and then just like off you go. Have fun. Have fun replacing your gun every time you get below 93%.
That's exactly what it is, though. Oh my god.
Exactly. Okay. What next? There's a whole bunch about statistics. I don't think it's up. Interesting. What else?
So they did ask, will there be a feedback on our reports on suspicious players? Will it be a system message in game or notification on launcher? Will be instant notifications of player banned a week, a month, blah blah. What stage of system at? Will appear in new patch. And Nikita says will be a system message in game. He doesn't know the status of it. They're just busy with a lot of other things, aka getting streets out the door. So
yeah,
again,
I like that. Right now our heads are busy with other things, but we have been working on it.
Yeah.
With all of the other things they're trying to do.
Right.
Arena, Lighthouse Trader, Streets of Tarkov, Storyline Quest, fixing the networking, fixing the audio, and fixing the AI.
I'm gonna impersonate.
There's a lot.
want to impersonate Nikita. Yes, it is planned. So, yeah.
Soon.
It's coming. Planned. Yes.
Yeah. Right. What else is it? So there's a bit about lighting, which he doesn't really say anything in, just saying work is underway. Everybody, as always, everyone on their dog says that you need to change the lighting on interchange because it's still screwed and MVGs don't work properly and everything's just like grey and weird. I hope that they fix that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they fix that. And then there's a bit about events where basically Nikita's just like, I like hardcore events where people struggle. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. He likes to sweat.
Nikita has a very specific definition of hardcore, if you know what I mean. Like, there's definitions of hardcore out there, ones that pertain to certain other stuff. I think that's Nikita's definition. Not necessarily, well, I don't know. Anyways, he's got. What I'm trying to say is, like, dude, Nikita's definition of hardcore is kind of different than what I think the definition of hardcore is. He's like, I just want to watch people suffer.
Yeah, exactly. I quite like it with the where is it? I don't like simple events that change some parameters that don't fundamentally move the gameplay, but they are necessary. Not everyone can participate in the hardcore events. Oh no, that wasn't the bit that I meant. Oh yes, here it is. The bit where he says, or when streamers play during the event, they understand that people who are watching it don't necessarily want to exert themselves, but want to watch them suffer. It's all part of the big concept. I like it. Like the show of watching people suffer. That's kind of what like Tarkov streaming is about, you know. Like people come,
yeah, in a lot of ways.
They want to feel the vibe of the game,
yeah,
and experience the game without getting like slapped in the nether regions 24/7 by the game. Mm-hmm. It's much less painful watching somebody else get slapped. So, yeah. And then he talks a little about the ARG events. They want to do more of those, which is kind of cool.
There's mention of a gold card, like a master key card, and Nikita said that was the plan. Was black key card was supposed to be the master key for labs, but it ended up differently. But he said it could be changed in the future, which I thought was kind of cool. Like there's just like the ultimate labs card. That's just like the master key just unlocks every access room in there. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that really like does to the gameplay. I don't know whether it really matters or not.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, but it's like you can get that one for 25 marked room keys.
Right. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. It's just.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Like
it doesn't
300
really.
marked room keys, something stupid. 500 GPUs.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but I'm not sure if it really like moves the needle particularly.
Nope.
This one was kind of cool. They said like, do you plan to add any event-related voice lines? Not necessarily part of because they were sort of like Tagilla says trick or treat. Like I don't think they'll do it for an event, but Nikita like talked a little bit about like how it works and like there are nuances to voice acting. Some of the voice actors don't work with us in the office. If there's a voiceover, it will only be for those who are available. But it spurred him on to say this, which is, by the way, the new voice acting will be added in the next patch. We voiced the bosses on Lighthouse and also Killer and Tagilla. I need to check if it's in the next patch. It was supposed to be a surprise. There'll be a crazy voice acting, just as I like it. I went to Moscow and we voiced them there. The actors who voiced the characters of the game recently, they're close to us. But it sounds really cool. It sounds like Killer and Tagilla are going to get crazy new voice lines because like Killer he doesn't actually have any voice lines right now. He sounds like a regular scav, doesn't he? If I remember correctly.
I think that's
I'm
correct.
pretty sure that's the case. And so that'd be sick to have them have their proper voices, which would be awesome. So we don't know whether this is coming in the next patch, but we'll see. We'll see. And you kind of alluded to the fact that voices in the game right now were made by people a long time ago, and they hired some guys, and they're not necessarily close to the studio. Whereas like new voices, and maybe they'll redo some of them in the future, but the new voices are people who are like really close to them. So if they need like fun voice lines just like recreated, then they can just do it, which is cool. Like having that flexibility is nice. Like you can imagine how hard that is if you've like hired a specific voice actor to do something, and then you're like, can you just say like cheeky breaky and send it us as .mp3, please?
In really bad Russian accent, cheeky breaky.
Yeah,
just get it some random like UK voice actor. Cheeky breaky. Yeah. Like,
Yep.
just try to sound like this guy. It's like, oi, mate, I'll try. That's not UK, but that's Australia. Oi, mate, I'll try my best.
I love it. I love it.
The other one that caught my eye is permanently assign a position of certain items inside the stash. He said yes. There is a task to do that. Yes, it's planned. He said he's seen it somewhere. It was fully described like it was being worked on. He's not sure if it made it in the patch or not. There were several types of like blocks for it. Not a block for movement and others. I'm not really sure what he means by that. He's talking like if that's like a work, terminology, like there was a different blocks of work that need to be, I don't know, or if he's saying like literally the blocks had to be moved. I don't know. A lot of features were made, but they didn't make it into the last patch. So like it sounds like it could be possible it's making it in this patch. That'd be real nice too, because I like auto sort, but I only use it to start the wipe, and then once I start getting cases, I just stop using it.
Yeah, because I want my cases at the bottom. I don't know about you, but I always put my cases at the bottom because when you're control clicking stuff out of your player, it all goes to the top, and I don't want that all getting mixed up, Right. I want a nice gaps. It's like, here's the things I haven't sorted, here's the things I have sorted, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So that'd be neat.
Another one that caught my eye, if you could go back in time, make the game differently, would you? And he said, we're going to do the game that we originally intended. The only thing is I pay more attention to the technical stuff. No one expected a niche project to become so popular. Of course, I would have paid more attention to some parts of development, but 95% of stuff I would have left as is, which sounds like a Nikita answer. No surprise from there. I think like from the big picture, him looking down, I think that makes sense. So.
Yes, indeed. There was a couple of questions a little bit further up that caught my eye for a few reasons. So one of them was the one, will there be another way to unlock scav quests? So some of these questions, it's weird because like the answer is not necessarily related to the question, actually. Like the interesting piece of the answer. Will there be another way to unlock scav quests for players who don't invest in the hideout? For example, do some sort of mission as a PMC. And Nikita said, maybe. All of the mechanics around quests will be reworked for the game's release. We also plan to change and reshuffle the quests with this wipe so that players will experience the already familiar experience in a new way. For me, this is one of the biggest announcements about the next wipe so far, outside of Streets Part 1. Although it's not announced, but it basically is because, he said that it's coming this year and blah, blah, blah. But if we're getting a quest reordering, I mean, who knows how significant this will be, but it could change things quite a lot. The quest order and what comes where is really important.
Yeah, even if it's, for sure. I mean, like on paper, I think it's like it'd be easy to say like, oh, they're just gonna reshuffle, but it could, the implications of that could essentially mean that the same linear progression that we've done, that's like 90% of it has remained unchanged for the past X years, could potentially be drastically changed. And the implications of that, like how does that affect the unlocks? Did they change the unlocks? Did they change the quest rewards? Like there's so many like, who knows? But just regardless, having like that fresh, it's going to be like exciting to like figure out, oh, what does this quest lead to? You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, this, boom. Oh my God, I'm on Tarkov shooter already, or whatever. It's cool. Like I look forward to that so much. That would like definitely make the early wipe experience a lot more fun. It's good to have variety.
Because even this wipe, it was interesting seeing like, oh, they've like shuffled the Grenadier and like and it was not even big changes, right? It's like some of the, I can't remember whether it was this wipe or last wipe, where they flattened some of the quests out. Some of the Jaeger quests they split earlier. You can do Tarkov shooter much earlier.
Yeah, I think
some of that was last wipe, some of that was this wipe. And then they like switch those two around. So you have to do Grenadier to get BP rather than the Ash ammo, and then you get that after Punisher 6. And so like even those small changes kind of were they were impactful,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cool to see. So yeah, if they do something even more than that, I mean, that was just like small tweaks. So yeah, if they do plan to change and reshuffle the quest with this wipe, that'd be great. I mean, I still hold up hope. I don't know whether this is going to happen. This is probably copium, but I still hold up hope that we've had the daily quest system in for 2 wipes now. I think they've kind of got to grips with that system, right? Of like giving everybody dynamic quests. You could make some of the elements for these quests more dynamic, as we've talked about, and loads of people have talked about this before, right? It's like shortage for therapists. For some people, it's CMS. For some people, it's IFAC, it's not AFAC, Balewa, whatever. I mean, it's obviously got to be balanced. So it's not really hard for some. It's not like 2 bandages for one person, 5 grizzlies for another. But they have the elements in place. They have like the technical implementation now to make that kind of thing work.
Yeah.
And so if they could add a little bit of spice to some of the quests like that, then it'd be kind of interesting. We'll see. I mean, even just like streamlining the game and making like gunsmith make sense. You know what I mean? It's just like you get to gunsmith part 5 and you just cannot progress anymore because you can't get an arse ass. Just like some of the later ones are really easy. Just reordering it so that it actually makes more sense from a player progression perspective.
I think they should just procedurally generate gunsmith. It just seems like the solution to the problems with gunsmith. It's like every update they have to like, oh my god, we got to change the parts requirements for it. Just like literally pick a random list of parts that can actually are compatible. Do it within the game engine so it makes sense, or what, you get my point.
Yeah.
And then it's like
yeah,
it can't be like you like the guides, like I'm thinking of content creator, but the guide side to be like where to find gun parts now, instead of like here's some specific gun parts you need. You know what I mean? It would like change the economy too for the better, in my opinion, because you wouldn't have like some of the gunsmith parts being like super expensive. It's like, how dare you use this on your gun build? This is a gunsmith part. I don't care about your build. It'd be an individual for each player too. You could like, I mean, it could be like astronomically improved in that regards, but
it could be for sure. I think maybe that's like my gut instinct for that is that it's too complicated for just a single quest line to implement that, because then you'd also need it to have like different levels of difficulty. Otherwise, it's just boring, or you might get like a thermal one at the beginning, and then you're just stuck.
Yeah, but like
that's kind of hard.
Like that could be, backwards compatible to like daily and weekly quests.
Having like, gunsmith daily or weeklies would be awesome.
Yeah,
but like adding automatic like gunsmith quests. That would be so fun.
Yeah,
it would be so easy for the game to do as well, because it would just like, well, yeah, I was gonna say we just like build a random build, and then it would say do it with these parameters, but then that might actually make a lot of them too easy. But yeah, I'm sure there's a way of doing it.
If you put enough like thought behind it, anything's possible. Well,
indeed,
that's kind of my hope, is that it gets some more well thought out quest or systems rather. Anyways,
we will see. Delete capturing outposts. Anyway, so yeah, what changes are planned for the hideout? The workout zone, we know about this. Remember the idea of having a cat in the hideout? It's become a fully fledged task. It will be done someday. So we're going to get a cat.
+1 charisma.
Exactly.
That's the permanent buff.
This one's pretty funny.
+1 furry. Sorry.
I don't know where this is going, Jed. What overall changes are waiting for us in the new wipe? What co-op features will be added in the new patch? There will be lots of adjustments. Weather, bot settings, 1 HP for everyone. Huh? Who asked for that?
Yeah, it's like
I read it. And I was just like, yep. Huh?
Yeah, it's like so out of there. Yeah.
You what? It's just like, bot settings, like, weather, 1 health for everybody. What?
Specifically meant, make sure you specifically, that's like the Nikita, we got this great update coming. Make sure you specifically list these things. It's funny.
It's just like one shot, one kill mode or
Yeah.
something.
But no, it's cool. I
Doing,
mean,
like, yeah,
he said like, etc. at the end, so it could be some other things like
Yeah.
you know,
free
who
cam and
knows?
stuff like this, I guess.
I wish free cam made it into the list of things that he specifically mentioned, but copium or hopium rather for that feature, that would be amazing.
I'd rather have free cam than 1 HP.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I would trade 1 HP and weather.
Yeah, weather. Oh, weather. Yeah. I feel like I've got quite good at targeting the weather now. I'm just like, okay, is the weather good now? No. Okay, random weather then. Okay, fine.
I get screwed every time.
You can get sunlight relatively often. So the next one here, this piques my interest in the least informative way possible. Will there be a hardcore mode? For example, turning on a checkbox in the menu and there'll be no access to the flea market. It is planned.
That was good. That was spot on.
I don't know what that means, but I mean that sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, I don't know. Because that they're asking the question specifically, turning on a checkbox in the menu, and there will be no access to flee. It is planned. It's like, is it just gonna be like is Nikita saying it is planned specifically for that scenario, or is he saying it is planned for a hardcore mode? Because if it's planned specifically for that scenario, I'm like not really that interested, because it would probably be like a self penalty, you know? It's like putting on.
You check the box and it bans the flea for you.
Yeah. It's just like.
Yeah, well, like there's no. Yeah, I agree. There's no point in that.
But if it's not that specific scenario and there's a hardcore mode coming, like that has me a little bit more interesting. But then again, you know, is Nikita's hardcore mode like you have a 2% chance to have your account deleted from a critical heart attack? You know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't know. It's like almost like whatever. I'm interested as well, but I'm not holding out hope for anything there.
Exactly. It's just kind of like in the back of my brain, I'll just, file that away.
Yeah.
I still think that there is a place for hardcore characters that are matched against each other. I really do. Especially now with the server combinations. Oh no, you're going to split the player base. Well, not anymore, because all the servers are
That's
together.
True. So, like it does make it better for matching players. So like that would be a big pro.
Actually, not to go back to what we were talking about before with the servers too much, but I did see a couple of posts on Twitter. I think Clean posted, and a couple of other people as well, about they were like, "Hey, this is great, putting all the servers together. Now delete the day and night cycle, like choice selection."
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Honestly,
I feel like I would be down for it too.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks, but it's such a nice. Because like your option, it kind of sucks because your option would be if you didn't want to go night, let's say, for example, because that's probably the most common scenario. You basically sit in your hideout, or you could run a scav. I mean, he would still go night, but like you're not running your main character at night. But like, that's kind of the part of it for me, is because it's more immersed. It's like the game feels more alive. There's actually a day and night cycle. I don't know, like coming from like a game like Rust where you have that, or like even DayZ, like it does kind of suck because usually it's changed a bit now that they added like NVGs and stuff, but usually it's like nighttime's here, okay, sit in the base and AFK for X amount of time, which is like,
you want to avoid that, right?
Yeah, but like that's not always the case, because sometimes you're like out and about and it's like night, and like maybe you can't get back to base in time, so you have to like move at night. Like you need to be prepared. You gotta have flashlights, and that's the whole thing. Is like if you wanna, it's like if you're, it's kind of hard because it's instant space. But like hypothetically, right? Let's just say hypothetically that there was no like instant space. You were just in the raid the entire time, from day to night. There was no like stash. Just like for a second. It's nice because you could like have like the flashlight in your gun, have the NVGs, have all this stuff on you, even though it's not there. But when it does come, you could like use it and you like worked for it. You know what I mean? It's like I kind of get that sentiment from the idea of like removing the choice.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would play in practice, because again, you just like since you're in your stash, you can just basically be like on or off. Like, yes, I'm playing the game. No, I'm not playing the game. So
I agree. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm pretty much exclusive daytime player, so like,
Right. Same.
it would force me to change and think, like, oh, do I want to play? Like, it's tricky. I think they were more likely to get this though if they do the connected maps and open world or whatever, because then, like, in theory, you shouldn't really be able to choose. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm sort of for. That's the thing. I'm sort of for it, but I also don't really want to play night half the time.
Because that's the thing. I'm in the same boat, and if they did this, I think I would probably try it maybe once or twice, and I would probably not like it, and I'd probably never do it again. And then this again, the thing would be is just like, I used to be able to play the game during, this time block, but now I can't. That's like how I would like phrase it. Because then I would just sit there AFK until set an alarm for 15 minutes from now, whenever the sun rises, and then you just get back on and play. So I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm really torn on it. I feel like if the game was persistent, like it just forced, like I was in the raid at all times, then I'd be like extremely for it, obviously. But it's weird. But then at that point, what do you make? Anyways,
yeah,
I'm torn.
I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. Yeah. So there's actually quite a few random things that were interesting that I saw. So they were talking about like reading stuff. The mechanics of reading books will definitely be there. Books, for example, could be used as manuals for crafting. I feel like this isn't probably coming in the next wipe. It almost sounds like they want to put like a blueprints kind of system in, where you don't have any
really
craft
cool
until you find them. I think it'd be really cool as well. Like just more items to find to bring back that you want to bring back. You can't just craft BP right off the bat. You've got to either find it or maybe you get it from well, I guess quest locking it is basically the same thing. Not with the craft though, actually. Maybe you get the blueprint from a quest. You could do it that way. You could get it in raid. Maybe you get it both.
I like that.
Ways.
I think like if you do it like Rust, you find the item, you take it back, you research it, which just means you convert it into a blueprint. Then you read the blueprint, which means you consume it, and now you know how to make that thing. Okay. Something like that kind of works for me, because like you have two routes. Then you could do the quests to get the unlock to buy from the trader, or you could do the quests to go find it, bring it back, research it, upgrade your workbench to that level, which basically means doing more quests for mechanic and all the other stuff. But you get the point. And
I guess it works either way.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, I think. That'd be kind of cool. Right. Okay. So what else? So there's like a bunch of random stuff. Let me just see. There's like a lot of random things. Like, are we going to get a PMC smoking a cigarette? Like, I don't really know. There was one part that I've lost now. Where was it? Oh, here we go. See, this is what I mean, right? Like some of the answers were just like in the middle of random questions. It was the only thing that I would say about this, is that some of the answers were interesting. So the question, will it be possible to use the grappling hook, right? Which it's a question. It is a question for sure. And his answer being, the mechanic is interesting, but what about the ability to ride an ice sled? But we're not going to go too crazy. Just imagine we build a plane, tests are going on, then they say, make a third engine in the tail, it'll fly faster. Anything is possible, but only if you stop the development and redo everything. And then here's the critical point. For example, it is impossible to completely rewrite the network from scratch in the game now. We'll need half a year to rewrite it and 2 more years to test it. Someone will say, why didn't you make it properly the first time? When we first started doing everything, we didn't really know much. We had no idea how to bring such a project to life. We essentially created a new genre. We still have plans to finalize and greatly improve the network. Next year, we have changes planned to be able to launch a big number of players on streets. That is an honest answer about the networking, and I applaud him for it. That's the first time we've actually had a straight answer about it. Like, the networking's never going to be perfect, because they didn't do it right the first time, because they didn't know what they were doing, and they're doing the best that they can. I honestly think it's a brave answer, and I honestly think fair enough. Because everybody knows, like everyone who's been following the development process knows that that's the case, right?
Yeah, that's what we've all said, right?
Exactly, but it's nice to hear him say it, because Like, there's no point. There's no point trying to make people think, or like, I don't know, like avoiding the topic or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just tell people how it is. I feel that he deserves respect for that, for saying exactly what the deal is with that. So, it's like, in some ways you can kind of like put it to bed. You know what I mean? Just be like, okay, like we accept the network is never going to be perfect. Like when they say, oh, we're changing it, we're having to do this, but look, we're doing updates, we're improving it, and it's just like, well, are they going to rewrite it? Like, what are they actually doing? Like, no one really knew. Now we know that they're not rewriting it. They're just going to make the best of it that they can.
Right.
Okay. Like, we're just going to have to deal with that. Fine. Like, I feel like it's easier to accept then as well. It's easier to accept. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Shout outs to the grappling hook question for finally getting the network answer pinned down.
I know. That's why I couldn't find it, because I was looking through the questions, just like, I was like, I'm sure there was something about the network. I'm just like, oh yes, it was in the grappling hook question. Okay.
I think I completely skipped that because I saw the word grappling hook. I was just like, or maybe I skimmed it, but yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know he said that.
So yeah, I mean, there's lots of random stuff in there. Anybody who wants to go and read the full thing, it's called The Transcript of the Episode 5 of the Girls of Tarkov podcast with Nikita, and it's on the official Escape from Tarkov forum. And there's a bunch of random stuff in there, but I think that's most of the important things, and some stuff with interesting implications for the next wipe, which I've been thinking about a lot recently, just because we don't really know much. Like, normally we kind of have an idea about what's coming. There's this ballistic updates that are coming, or there's this happening, or this map's coming, whatever. Like, this time we know that Streets is going to be here, and we know the quests are getting revamped. But what that means for kind of the early wipe progression and things, it's really anybody's guess. I feel almost more, not confused, but unsure of what's coming in the next patch than ever.
For sure. It's one big question mark. I mean, it seems like the new boss is coming. Streets is coming. The new boss on Lighthouse, specifically Zerachi. What else can we say is probably coming?
Posted a ridiculously awesome picture of him about an hour ago.
Yeah.
He looks sick. And it is an AXMC with a RepIR on it, because now you can see it in its full detail glory. But yeah, what other stuff? I mean, I
would say like those two are the most concrete things we could probably say. A little bit like, more speculation would be the AUG, the SR2 verse, as far as like weapons go, like those, like they were teased not too long ago. So I feel like those have a good chance. Oh, I guess the other concrete thing would be grenade launcher, underbarrel grenade launcher. That seems to be, maybe like just slightly soft concrete, but he said it was kind of, I don't know. Everything's kind of like TBD, but
yeah. I feel like
quest reworks,
even though, unless the quests get reworked significantly at the beginning, I feel like it will probably, the early game will probably feel quite similar to 12-12 and 12-12-30, I guess, which is no bad thing, because I feel like they've kind of nailed the early game relatively.
Yeah, my only thing is I feel like the early game now is going to be a little bit stale because, like, yes, part of it is because we've played it twice in a row now, but because what is it? Is it level 15 you get flea
currently?
And because M80 is basically gone, because it's Peacekeeper 3 now?
Yep.
I just think 545 AKs are just gonna be like probably the RPK for me, but
same as last wipe. All of the 545 AKs with PP.
Yeah, but like
you get to grapple 2 and then just PP everybody until level 25.
Exactly, because you're gonna be able to find the most parts attachments compatible to go on it in raid, and then from the traders, because you're gonna get prepper level 2 before you get Peacekeeper 2. Well, that's just not true.
Probably.
Yeah, because what Peacekeeper 2 just gotta spend
Actually,
cash.
maybe, but you just have to spend the money. But then you need the dollar. It's only dollars, then you're left with loads of dollars, and you can't really spend the dollars early. So
Yeah, and it's like, what do you even get? I don't even think you get anything that great to like.
That's the thing. Not until you've done the quest, right? You can't get 5681 until you've done the cult part 2 right now.
So it's like you really don't get any, you get like a few attachments, but it's kind of, I don't know. PK2 is kind of underwhelming from what I recall in terms of attachments.
I think so now.
And
I think so now.
Yeah, the big thing is gonna be the flea. You get the flea at 15 plus the 545 AK attachments from Prapper, rubber butt pad. A few like minor side upgrades, and then anything you find in raid you can just add to your gun, and it's easy to upgrade. You don't have to like worry about barrel, handguard compatibility, gas blocks, whatever. Just super easy. And then you hit 15, you just, the same progression as before. Eventually you'll be level 35, run around with M80, in some gun or BP. Probably BP actually. You'll probably run on BP. Assuming all that stuff's the same. I just like, I don't know. My long and short of it is like, since they kind of killed M80, it's made like that. I mean, it was really busted, but I just can't see myself running. Like, I thought about it. I was like, oh, I'll do the foul and I'll like, do this and that. But it's like not having M80 just like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it doesn't make sense to run 556. You don't get BP until a bit later. You can't get M80. So it's like, okay, you're kind of stuck with like the early game guns.
Yeah, I mean, you could do an AKM or a SKS, sure, but I just feel like the 545s are kind of a bit more well-rounded, in my opinion.
Yeah, like DMR, like SKS DMR is okay, that works. Or like VPO, they work, they're fine. But yeah, I agree with you, right? You want to be able to just full auto somebody, and it's
plus that's like the
wearing crazy armor, so
it's like the only time in the whiteboard that ammo really shines. The TTK is like good, and the pen is like good for the money you're spending. Like, it's very economically efficient in terms of like pen to ruble.
Ever since the PP got its buff,
right,
even after the price increase, like, it's still really good because it beats the class 4s on full auto. So,
and
that's the thing. That's
assuming they didn't change any of the recoil stuff, like SMGs are kind of like a joke. I just like, maybe the Vector, maybe if you do like Skier. Oh wait, yeah, you can't even do it Skier 2 now, can you?
Or is 16 level 16 or something?
I don't even think he has the Vector at 9mm at Skier 2. I think, did they move it to
the Skier 3? The 9mm Vector. The 9mm Vector is Skier 4.
Yeah, that's what they did, because when it came out, it was Skier 2, and then they moved it to 4. So like,
I guess the other one, you can get the 45 Vector as Skier 2, but you can only buy 13 round block max.
It's just like the meta has like been so, it's not, the meta, I hate to use the word meta, but it's just like the options have been so like reduced that unless they change something, it's gonna feel even more reductive than the previous iterations, in my opinion, because of all the compounding changes of all the bands and some of the like changes. Like, you gotta think about damage, fall off, range, I mean recoil. It's just all like compounding down, and it's kind of unfortunate in my opinion, but
I know what you mean, because basically everything interesting now opens up pretty much like Peacekeeper 3. You get all the cool rounds at Peacekeeper 3.
Yeah.
That's where you start together. So you got like M80 there. You've got like AP for 45.
Yep. And because
there's some no-mill stuff there as well. There's like a bunch of stuff that's kind of cool.
Yep. And because it's so hard to find, assemble a gun through various raids. Like, I do this every wipe, and it's so frustrating because I just need to stop doing it. It's all like horde parts, and like I'll maybe build one gun that's like my best, but by that time I'm like already level 15.
And then you get the fleet, and then you don't need any of them. Yeah,
it's just like, I hate that, man. I hate that so much, but
yeah, I've had exactly the same thing. So yeah, I don't know whether really the early game is going to change much. It's going to be UMP and
Yeah, I forgot about the
BPSH,
UMP. Yeah.
like early game, plus like some of the
Oh my
guns.
god, the UMP
Yeah.
is such a class. It's just a staple of like 12-12 and onwards, dude. The UMP, the early wipe supremacy.
The early
Yeah.
supremacy of the UMP, and then you're going to get Prep War 2, and then you're going to move into one of the 74s of some kind with BP, and black people with that. Just
Scav knives.
and
Make
then,
sure you hoard the scav knives, dude, for the trade for fence, man.
yeah, I kind of hope that it gets shredded up a bit. I hope we get some changes to recoil because they can't leave the M4 the way it is. They can't, and the HK. It's yeah. They need to do what they did with inertia. You know, they pushed it all the way one way, and then they brought it back to some kind of middle ground. They need to do something. I hope that they do.
Really wish they asked about recoil on this podcast. I would love, or this, yeah. I would love to know or get some insight from it if they were gonna like tweak it at all. Have you seen Rengar's tweets?
Yeah, Rengar's been going like fully unhinged.
I love it, dude. Like he got so much. I think he got so much engagement that he's just been like doing the, trying to recreate the magic. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like, wake up, bro. It's like, bro, what do you mean Fountain Raid? What the heck? Get in the labs right now. Grab your HK. It's time to frag. Just like, I love it, dude.
Yeah, it's so funny. There's like a couple of them for anyone who like wasn't following Rengar on Twitter. It's hilarious. There's one. So he posted a GSSH with an airframe and a Meta HK with a Zook 6A, right? Which you like never ever see. They've like deleted that armor from the game because there's no barters for it or anything. And it just says it's still 2019. It was just a bad dream, copium. And then the next one says, "Bro, what the hell's found in raid? Reserve just dropped. Get on, man." And then the next one's got the juice cannon in it. And it says, "You're finally awake. Whoa, you hit your head pretty hard. Mutant, inertia, PKO6 nerf. What are you talking about? Get up and take this juice cannon." And then the next one's just like, "What are you talking about, Mark? He doesn't have any charges. Let's go reserve. I just got 2 weapons cases." And there's 2 like weapons cases on the marked circle.
Dude, I mean, there was like so many good things. I hate to be this guy, but there was so many good things back in the day, dude. The weapons cases in the marked room.
Cases in the rooms was the thing. That was like the big wins, right?
That was
They've removed a lot of the big wins because of RMT, and it sucks because of RMT and cheaters, and it sucks that they feel that they've had to do that. It's arguable about whether people thought it was necessary, but it sucks that they feel that it was necessary to remove those big wins. Like, you remember, it's like I get suggested these videos from like Veritas from like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Taking a thick items case into labs.
Yeah.
Like things like that. Like the
Shroud taking a junk box into reserve and just filling it up with
just
junk. I mean, okay.
Everything.
Like fair enough. Those are those were kind of busted. The bringing in stuff and filling them up, like
you're risking like a whole. You're risking like a
I agree,
space.
but like they didn't have a weight system.
Risk reward.
Yeah. No, I
agree.
Weight
system, fine, but like that's how it's balanced now, right?
But like even if you did re-implement that, you couldn't do it because you would be instantly overweight when you put it in your backpack, right?
So fine. Let people it's just
let people do it. Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. Like, trust me, I really think the way they're handling, oh my god, dude. Like, the way they're handling it is just like, you're playing a card game for friends, and this is going to be an awful analogy, but there's a freaking, on the pile of cards, the draw pile, there's like a trapdoor underneath the table. And your friend is like just constantly just like pulling out cards from the bottom of the deck. And then you discover this, and instead of like, fixing the trapdoor or like attacking the trapdoor, you attack the card game. Like, fine, you guys can have only 1 card in your hand at a time. We're going to change the rules completely. You can't have 5 cards, only 1. There, we fixed the problem, guys. It's like, well, what? I had so much more fun with 5 cards. I could do so many more cool things. Like, nope, sorry. That guy was cheating. We all have to suffer. I hate it, dude. I hate it how they approach it like that. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like they got pinned into a corner and felt like they didn't have any choice about it. But yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. Honestly, it sucks. And I think that's the boiling frog thing, right? Where you don't notice, or you sort of take each change on its own merit. But then when
Dude.
somebody points you back like 2 years, and you go like, "Oh, freaking hell!"
We need to start a revolution, man. That's like build up and get the recruits in and be like, we're tired of all these changes. Have like a list. We demand these changes now. Hold on 1 second.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, it's funny though. It is pretty funny. Yeah, and anybody who hasn't gone and checked out Rengar's Twitter, he's gone full nuts, but it's good.
So yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I could like gripe about those changes so much, man. But anyways, long and short of it.
Long and the short of it, what the changes? Yeah.
Well, I just hope that they change recoil by jumping back to the
yes, that's
wipe.
what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope
at least put it back like to some extent. Like they need to change. Like high RPM guns just are really bad. They've killed even things like the MP5 SD just feel bad. It's like no.
Yeah, give me more choices early wipe, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did a video about this already. Did you see the dollar ruble exchange rate? Like
I did. I watched your video. I probably watched it while I just like woke up or something, and like my brain just couldn't track what was happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they implemented the server patch, they did something. So the dollar was like 110, like it usually is, and they did something, and they managed to make the dollar 66. So you could buy a dollar for 66 rubles rather than 112 rubles or whatever. So the dollar basically like halved in value. You could buy twice as much of it as before. But because the game is screwy, none of the items, except for Bitcoin, none of the items are actually priced in dollars. They're all priced in rubles. So what ends up happening is that like the M4 on Peacekeeper like doubled in price in dollars. Because it just goes, oh, here's what the ruble rate is for an M4, and here's the dollar exchange rate. So now it's way more dollars, but you can buy twice as many dollars for the price that you could before, so it completely balances out. And it sort of drives home the point. I didn't really say this in the video, but like the whole like exchange rates fluctuating thing, unless you're actually storing the currency on your PMC, it's entirely pointless. It is entirely pointless because it's exactly if you don't have any dollars or euros and you're converting them at the time, it has no impact whatsoever because you buy dollars at whatever rate and then you spend those dollars to buy the things, and it's exactly the same ruble cost no matter when you do it, because if the dollar weakens, all the prices go up, and they literally like this in a seesaw. And it's really obvious when you get a massive move like this. And they fixed it after one day. We weren't sure if it was like an economic thing that they'd done or whatever. Some people took advantage and bought like, 20, 30,000 US dollars at like half price. And then the following day, obviously, like, yeah, you've got a store of them then. The price has gone back up. So you've just like made, however much money. Like, great. That's fine.
Did you take advantage of that?
I actually didn't, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be permanent, and I've already got $35,000 because of the guide. Because the guide just gives you like a crap load of money, and so and I've just been selling like various things, diaries and blah blah blah. So I've got enough dollars. I was like, if this isn't permanent, I don't want to just spend I want to spend like 10 mil randomly on dollars. I'm not going to spend that probably by the end of the wipe. So I'm not going to do that. But fair play to those that did. But yeah, it was just kind of funny. I was just like, A, how does that happen? Like, how does the dollar rate halve because you updated the server patch? That's hilarious. And B, hang on a second. Why don't the exchange rates make any difference? Why do they even float around? It's just like it's a semblance of looking like a live world or whatever. Like, I get it. It's fine. Like, it doesn't really matter. But the interesting thing is that Bitcoin went to like 63K or something, because it's the only item in the whole of Tarkov that's actually priced in dollars, because it's based on the real world price, which is in dollars. That's the reason why that happens. So Bitcoin goes the other way. Bitcoin goes down when the dollar comes down, because it goes like, oh, because it's got a static price in dollars in the real world. And the game goes, okay, well, it's 0.2 of a coin, so divide it by 5. And then it says, okay, what's the in-game exchange rate? Do that. but that would get you to like 300 and something K. And then there's like you know, when they like they depegged it when it was like 800,000 and they reduced it. There's like some complicated formula. Erwin commented on one of my tweets actually. He was like, "Oh, the formula is like kind of complicated," and that was clear to me because we had like two data points that are really far apart from what the dollar rate was, and like the ratio of the Bitcoin price to the real world price is like not 1-to-1. Like it's not just like, oh, it's a quarter or something. There's like some weird sliding scale they've done. I'm not sure exactly. I also didn't really care to investigate it any more than I did, but I was like, okay, it's roughly a quarter of what it should be in the real world. But it's interesting because like, yeah, Bitcoin was just like super low and everyone's like, oh, what's happened here? And it's like, oh, but the dollar rate's really low. Oh, but all the dollar prices are really high. And I was like, okay, let's try and make some sense of this. Like what's actually happening? And it kind of makes sense now, but it was just like a random 1 day thing. But I was like, this is actually kind of an interesting topic as to how this works in the background, because it's not immediately obvious that the exchange rates don't make any difference, and B, all of the weapons are priced in rubles. Like really, like in the background, they really are priced in rubles. Like somewhere, it just looks like they're priced in dollars, and that's why the dollar amounts like change, float around a little bit. You know, I noticed that when I'm editing stuff, I'm just like, read my script out, da 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 da, and then I like go to edit the video, and I'm just like, let me take a screenshot, and I'm just like, oh no, the dollar rate is different from what I read out in my script. God damn it, because it's moved by like $3 or something. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and someone's pointing out Bitcoin fell because of different reasons, and there was actually some real price depreciation as well.
Yeah,
involved in that, but it wasn't like Bitcoin went from in game like 90 something K to like 60 something K.
It's crazy.
But that wasn't like 1-to-1 with the real world either. So yep, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. Outside of that, I finished Longline.
Yeah. Congrats. I saw you got a free coaching lessons from Toothy. I think it's Toothy, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna take him up on that at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
Down to watch that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, exactly. I was like, he's just like, oh yeah, do you want to play? And I'm like, I'm just like, can you play EU West? Like, am I going to play with him on stream or off stream? Like, I'm not sure where he is, and if he's like West Coast, and I'm like probably gonna have to play offline, and then like post it as a YouTube video. So I was like already like content thinking about it. I was like, man, like I can't play EU West. I probably can't even play US East with my ping, or I like maybe have to turn the bitrate down. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know.
But maybe we'll do it at some point.
East. You guys might not even be able to with unless you both connected to US East. Maybe that could work. Region, because the new server selection change.
I have to turn my bitrate down to like
yeah.
I'd have to put. I think I'd have 200 to put it under. I'd have to put it under 3K. Yeah. I think to have no ping implication.
I mean, the good thing is you'll probably be inside a lot, so there won't be a lot of bushes to.
Yeah, it'll just be like 3 pixels of me going.
Right.
As I go,
and
from
it's
spawn,
all black pixels, so.
And then I get inside, and then it'll be like perfect, like crystal clear, perfect. But like running from spawn to the main mall, it's just going to be.
I really hope
one big green grass pixel.
I hope his first tip is like, tip number 1: increase gamma. How to play interchange: increase your gamma.
Yeah, I mean, I already did that.
Yeah. Well, you caved. You finally caved, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, what's mine? Mine's like, no, I can't be bothered. Fine. I think I've like boosted by like 35% or something. But it's because I couldn't see anything in Underground Reserve either.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks. Like I had a scav throw a grenade at me through the window in the office where you pull the power switch on Reserve, and I just couldn't see him. He was just like, Slajui, straight through the glass. I was like, with the layer of glass and the darkness, it's like absolutely no way that I can see this guy. There's no way. But yeah, I still dislike interchange as much as before. I'm feeling more comfortable on the map.
Yeah.
But honestly, I had my greatest, like, I think I was trying to replicate too closely what I see other people doing there and not doing it kind of my way, maybe. So I was going with like SR25 or one of those guns with like good ammo, and then like a variable scope like Voodoo with a thing on top, and trying to like take like the long angles and the long corridors, whatever. Like I just like don't know the angles well enough and the maps and like the timings. So I had much more luck running in with like a red dart and just like scooting around the different stores and just playing it like CQB. That like it worked way better. That's not normally my preferred play style, really. It can be sometimes, it depends, but it definitely hasn't been on interchange before. But I think knowing the map better and knowing how to move around the map itself has then helped a bit with being more aggressive in getting into those like stores, because we had that chat about the loot runs within the stores and stuff. So I kind of started doing that a bit more, like not really, but like sort of like I move through the different stores and like pick up stuff and da da da. But like I'm always behind cover. I'm close range, and I was using like the vector with rip on there and stuff. That was like part of what I was doing on the event. I had one actually which was really hilarious. It's going to be basically the next video that I do, where I was like under one of the escalators. I was like, this is the perfect leg meta situation. Like I've never been in the better leg meta. I was like fighting a 3-man and I was under one of the escalators. So like the first thing that was coming out was their legs. And it was just like the next one would come out and just the next guy would come out and the next guy would like we never see our thoraxes. I was just like, bring me thighs. Bring me the thighs. And I had a hilarious one about another guy. I was like, man, this guy like seems like he's super like geared or so there's something weird going on, because I like shot him loads with the vector. I was like, freaking hell, this took a lot of bullets. Get out of the raid. I'd completely forgotten that I'd like swapped the whole loadout over to 45 AP. And I just like legged the guy. 45 AP. I mean, it still does 70 damage, so it's not too bad. But I was like, man, this guy's taking a long time to die. Like I'm expecting like a 4-shot kill. And the dude's like, 6 hits later, he's still going. I was like, oh my God. Like, what am I hitting stomach? And he was wearing a Redo M. So I thought he was maybe wearing a Zabralo when I first saw him. And I was like, maybe I'm like hitting stomach. Like, this guy's like completely juiced. And then it's just like, oh no, I've got AP ammo in my mag. Oh, whoops. So yeah, that's been fun. That's been fun. Oh, I posted a bug up as well on I reported a bug. I put that on Twitter too. I've been posting all over Twitter at the minute. But take the stock off the vector, and when you fire on full auto, you can see your shoulder in the screen. It's like super weird. I was like, oh God, so messed up.
Yeah, that's a weird one because I don't know what. I mean, I guess it's the. I was thinking like maybe because the horizontal recoils. I had to like test it with another gun and see, like, if you take the stock off on like a SA58, for example, it's probably a combination of the horizontal recoil stat and the camera recoil. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure though. I'd have to like look at some parameters or some numbers and see how they compare and test a few things. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
But anyway, yeah, they said, oh, it's been sent to the devs. So there you go. They were real finicky though. I sent them the thing. They were like, "Oh, can you send us the video?" 'Cause I was like, "This is how you exactly reproduce it." They're like, "Oh, could you send us the video?" I was like, "Okay, it's in this Twitter post here." They're like, "Can you send it to us as a YouTube video? Because we can only enter it into our system if it's a YouTube video." All right, I'll enter it as a YouTube video. Fine. And there's like, "Thank you for submitting your bug report. Would you like to give us any feedback?" It's just like, "Can you accept Twitter videos, please?" Why does it have to be a YouTube video? Anyway, doesn't really matter because I downloaded the low quality one from Twitter and it took like 2 seconds to upload to YouTube.
And all its 240p glory.
Exactly. It got the point across. So.
All right. Yep. Well, hopefully, we'll get maybe some more pre-wipe events. Oh, sorry. I spoke too soon. I said the wrong word there.
Pre-wipe events? Pre-wipe events?
Yeah, that would
I don't know. Dude,
that's what I'm hoping for. That's kind of, I'm hoping like, I want to play the new wipe, man. I want to just get me there, man. Get me there.
What date do you think? If you had to guess, if you were going to enter this week's what date do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of feeling like somewhere between the 16th, 25th, somewhere. That's like my range. Maybe even as early as the 13th.
Yeah. Could be like 15th or something.
Yeah, it could be as close as 2 weeks from when.
I think maybe like the 22nd, personally, but yeah, it could be 2 weeks away even. We will see. We will see. Patch 13 on the 13th. Tuesday, the 13th of December. Could be.
All right.
Could be. Cool.
Well, I guess
I think that wraps it
we'll.
up for today.
What's that?
I think that wraps it up for today, I think.
Yep. Well, to hear everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, we'll catch you all next week.
Bye-bye.